Yeah, start with obviously proud of our guys for the effort against the Badgers on Saturday. At the same time, disappointed that we didn't find a way to come away with a win there, and that's what our team's mentality was after the game. Put ourselves in a position there to really make that fourth quarter a quarter that decided the football game, and had opportunities there in the fourth quarter to be able to um, uh, take the lead, and weren't able to put together a drive to do that. And credit to Wisconsin, they made those plays in the fourth quarter when they needed to make those plays. But very proud of the way our guys hung in there after getting down 14-0, and I think showed a lot of grit and a lot of improvement from the week before, and that's really the same goal this week. We've got to keep improving as a team. Second tough road trip in a row, headed out to the West Coast, playing Portland State, a team out of the Big Sky that everybody that follows FCS football knows. Between the Big Sky and the Valley, the two deepest and most talented conferences, and Portland State, very experienced football team. Dual threat quarterback, a little different type of offense than we faced the first 2 weeks, and then a very, very aggressive and experienced defensive football team that isn't going to be afraid to play one-on-one on the perimeter and do some things that going to cause us to make sure we've got a great plan for.
Thanks, Coach. And with that, I will send it over to Swaffer to start the questions.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good.
Wanted to ask you, multiple times there in that third quarter, you guys had chances to either take the lead or tie the game. You look back at the game film. What do you think you guys could have done differently to possibly get into that point where you were leading or tying in that third quarter?
Well, number one, we got to play better in the red zone. We have a turnover there, got the ball deep in their territory, and in a game where points are going to be a premium, we've got to come away with that possession with a touchdown. And not only did we not come away with a touchdown, we actually lost yards that didn't even give us a chance on fourth down really to make a decision. We had to kick the field goal there to put some points on the board, and at the same time, then we're down 4. And defensively, we get the ball back. We got a chance to put together another drive, and we didn't do that. So the two things that really offensively, we got to be better in the red zone. We've not been a great team in the red zone to this point. Both red zone possessions we had on Saturday ended up in field goals, and another 4 points there would have made a big difference along the way. And the other thing is we got to be better on third downs. If we're going to keep drives alive, we're going to have to convert a higher percentage of third downs than we did on Saturday. And that's what they did in the fourth quarter. They converted third downs. We didn't convert third downs, and as a result, in the fourth quarter there, they kept the football and eventually put some points on the board, and we didn't.
Yeah, I wanted to ask more about the third down situations. You guys were 2 of 11 on Saturday. Just for you guys, what's the key to keeping those drives alive on third down?
Well, I'd say, staying on schedule, but several of those were what I'd call third and on schedule situations. I think we had a couple of 3rd and 3s that we didn't convert, some 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6s, long yardage. You're not going to convert a very high percentage of those. And we had a few of those as well in that 9 that we didn't convert. But just overall making sure that we got a good a third down plan. We had a couple of chances to convert that we either made the wrong read or didn't get the ball, weren't able to get the ball out on time. And so it's a combination of putting our guys in really good positions and number two, executing better on those critical downs.
Looking closer at the third downs, you guys only had 2 third down situations that were under 5 yards. You had multiple that were 10 or longer. How important are those early downs, getting some yardage, setting the tone for that series, and making sure that you don't get in those third down situations? And what can you do in those early down, first, second down, to keep from being in those third and long situations?
Yeah, well, number one, you got to be better on first down. We said going in, first down and third down going to be really important in that game. First down so that you're not behind the sticks. But we had a couple of things. We had a couple of penalties, offensive penalties. We had 3 offensive penalties that put us in off schedule situations. We had some too many negative plays. We had nine negative offensive plays, including the penalties and some tackles for loss. Some of those were sacks on third down when we were off schedule. So we on the drives that we moved the ball, and one of the things that we did is we did a good job on first down, and didn't. I think there was one drive that we had to convert a third and longer situation to keep it alive. And on the drives we didn't, we ended up off the field, and so it's about consistency there offensively.
One last one from me. You guys were going up against a really physical Big Ten team away from home. What did you think of the physicality that your team showed and how they stacked up against Wisconsin?
I mean, I thought our guys went toe to toe. I thought we proved that we can be as physical as the team that we played on Saturday. I think you saw that, not just offensively and defensively. I think you saw that in the kicking game as well. Our guys played hard. They played with the physical edge that you have to play with against quality football teams, and we knew it was going to be a physical football team. And I thought that was, our guys, when we got behind 14-0, there was no back down in our guys. They just kept coming and felt we had a lot of high level play. Can we be better? Yes. But we certainly showed that from a competitive standpoint, just how competitive our football team can be.
Thanks, Nathan. Jay, over to you.
Coach, how are you doing?
Good, Jay.
Couple questions, starting with just Aiden. Do you feel like so far, I know 2 very different measuring sticks with Northern State and then Wisconsin, but felt like week 1 you didn't ask much of him just because of the matchup, and you guys are running the ball so effectively. And then this week, I think it was 12 of 23. Do you feel like he's maybe just off or hasn't quite gotten into a rhythm just yet?
He's certainly capable of playing better. He's as hard on himself as anybody, and he walked off that field knowing that he could be better than he was. We missed a couple of guys. There was a couple of situations on third down where getting the ball to a different guy had an opportunity to convert. I thought he made some good throws, but we left a few throws, on the table there, and I feel pretty good about our running game taking a step forward. Now we got to take that same step forward with our passing game here this week to create better balance offensively.
Do you think it's it'll just be important going forward just to maybe get some of those rhythm throws early, just so he does kind of get locked in quicker, maybe?
Yeah, I think we can do some things that can certainly help him from from a pass game standpoint, build both off of our play action stuff and in our drop back game, some quick throws to help him get a little rhythm early on in that football game. It's funny because if somebody would have told me that, going into the game that we'd have a per carry rush average better than Wisconsin, I would have told them that would have, been a great indication, for us to win the football game. And we did, our per carry average was better than theirs. So we were running the ball pretty well. We had, they're a good coverage team. They're not going to give you a lot of wide open guys. You're going to put the ball in tighter windows when you play those Big Ten secondaries he was hurried a couple of times on throws as well. So it's passing game is still a little bit of work in progress. Honestly, we've got to get settled in on a few things like we did in the run game, I think, this last week, and really work to perfect those.
From an explosive standpoint, I mean, we got flashes of Keandre a little bit last year, but this is 2 weeks and two massive plays from him. You try to figure out ways to get the ball in those hands a little bit more frequently, just with what he's able to do and what he showed again on Saturday.
Yeah, we feel like that's something we've got to do a better job of offensively. We got to find more ways to get him involved offensively. We think we have a couple of skill guys that over these first 2 weeks we've been underutilizing and have the potential to be big play guys. We didn't generate over the first 2 weeks, a lot of what I'd call really explosive plays. We need to be better at that. And those, Keandre is one of those guys that can be a factor in that explosive play generation area. So he's certainly a guy that we need to get the ball in his hands a few more times than what we have the first 2 weeks.
On the defensive side, one of the guys that's jumped out to me the first couple of weeks is Nick. Got another sack on Saturday. Is he playing about as good a football as you've seen? It seems like his confidence level certainly is soaring right now.
Yeah, he's a very talented football player. Defensively, Nick's one of those guys that might make a mistake, but his athleticism will make up for it. So it's just trying to balance, getting him in the exact right spot and also his ability to make plays. So. But yeah, he demonstrated, he's on Saturday again, they had a hard time blocking him. He was in the backfield, I think, almost every time they threw the football. And a guy that we need to have a really good year up front, between he and Mike Keys Grace on the edge. Those two guys are formidable. And we're getting, that solid play up front is one of the reasons why teams have had a hard time, running the ball the way they've wanted to run the football against us. I'm sure the Badgers wanted to be more effective running the football than they were, and those up front guys did a really good job.
Last one for me, just a little bit more on Portland State. They've given up over 100 points between their first two games. Now, obviously, one of them against an FBS opponent in Washington State, but Weber State lit them up pretty good this weekend as well. So, is this an opportunity offensively to cure some of that what ails you to this point, just to go out there and try to correct some of those things that have been lacking a little bit on that side of the ball?
Yeah, it's really interesting as you watch those games. Washington State hit a lot of big plays. A lot of long passes over the top. They're not afraid to play one-on-one on the perimeter. As a result, load the box and make it hard for you to run the football. And so, you got to be able to take advantage of that. Washington State did. I think they had five of their touchdowns, I think, were on plays of 50 yards or over. And so, from that standpoint, they gave up a bunch of points there on some longer plays. The Weber State game was actually really close to the fourth quarter, and then Weber added a couple of touchdowns late. So they've played on the road in two really difficult environments. I know full well, having been out there, how difficult a place it is to play at Weber State and against two really good football teams. So I think the numbers are a little bit deceiving there, honestly, from a standpoint. But they're going to be really aggressive defensively, and they're going to give you some opportunities to pop things through that first level or get over top of the first that first level and make an explosive play or two, which is something we haven't been very good at yet this year. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to be better at on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jay. Alex, over to you.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, so last week we kind of mentioned with substitutions, you wanted your best players out on the field against Wisconsin. In that last drive, did we just see some exhaustion from throughout the game, or how did they manage to kind of just drive down that ball to kind of seal the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just from a physicality standpoint, that as we got into that fourth quarter, late into that fourth quarter, that last drive where they were able to hold on to the football. The things that they did is when we did get them into third down, they found a way to get the first down. Like a couple times they got it by like a half a yard. Things that in the first half, we were able to stop them a yard or two short. And so that was good execution on their part. They found a couple of things in the run game that balanced that over the course of the time got a little bit more success with. But it was pretty a methodical thing. So it probably was a little bit of wear down. They had the ball for 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, with our inability to convert on third downs and keep drives alive. Just like we had the ball forever in the third quarter. And so probably a little bit of that at the same time. I thought our guys, battled till the end. We had them on a fourth down situation there, fourth and goal. Did a good job of bowling our neck down there and stopped them on third down. And I was a little bit surprised, honestly. They went for the touchdown because field goal there would have created a two-score game. So it was kind of a risky move on their part, but at the same time, they executed and got the ball in the end zone. So once they had the two-score lead there late, and we didn't, convert on the next drive, I think, emotionally, you lose a little bit there too, knowing that the game's probably out of reach.
Yeah, speaking of holding on to the football, you guys won the turnover margin battle 2 weeks in a row now. What can we see you kind of open up, take a couple more risks while still holding on to the football, making good decisions?
Well, we're always going to make good decisions with the ball. Winning the turnover margin is, a big part of winning football. And so, from an offensive standpoint, I think that's one of the things that Aiden does really well. He's not careless with the ball. We haven't generated a lot of turnovers defensively. As a matter of fact, the majority of the turnovers that we've generated right now have been through the kicking game. But that's something this week, we need to continue to win the turnover margin, play good field position football, which we did against Wisconsin, and not give up short field and easy scoring opportunities.
And then just last one for me, Dennis Shorter was ejected for targeting in that last drive by them. Who will we see backing him up or taking his place in the first half of the Portland State game?
Yeah, well, Timbo White's his backup. Tim's a good player. He's played a lot of football for us. So, I heard Coach Fickle's comments after the game, and kind of agree with him in that regard. That I think Dennis's hit certainly not egregious. One of those that I don't think merited ejection from a football game. But you have to live by what the rule says, and so feel bad for him that as a senior captain he's going to miss half a football game. But we feel like we can cover that up, and Tim White will be a big part of that.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Alex. Over to you, Zach.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned a little bit ago that kind of the resilience of this team bouncing back from when it was 14-0. Certainly a year ago, the few times you did lose, obviously you think about that North Dakota State playoff game, even a little bit about the SDSU game. There were some instances where the game kind of got into a situation where early on some things were going against you. Some things went against you. The teams got on a run, and it was kind of tough for your team to bounce back. How important was it for this group to kind of be able to stop that momentum, especially in such a tough venue like that, to be able to kind of reverse things and be able to come back from when it looked like everything was maybe potentially going to snowball out of control, to be able to kind of stop that run and be able to show that resilience and battle back in that situation?
Well, I think it showed, from a mental standpoint, showed a lot of belief and confidence that by our football team, that, hey, we've got a good plan. We can get this game going back the right direction, and they did. And even when we went into halftime, 17-3, and I could tell our guys felt like, hey, this game is still within our grasp. And so we just echoed a couple of things about, hey, we've got to put drives together. We've got to get the ball in the end zone. Every stop's going to be a win in the second half defensively. And, came out in the third quarter, put a good drive together, got a stop right away. And you could see that confidence and momentum continuing to build and build and build. But, yeah, I mean, there was no, oh boy, at halftime. It was, hey, we're right in the thick of this, and here's what we need to do to get back into it and win it. And that's exactly what they did. So, yeah, it's leadership. It's those guys in the locker room that want to win and want to win really bad, and they're leading our football team right now.
Obviously, you don't take any moral victories out of anything, but moving forward, you're not going to play in a venue that's as loud as that, or maybe as difficult as that, I think. And obviously, if you get into a situation, hopefully you're not in a situation like that again. But is that something you build off of moving forward? That obviously we've got a team here that can kind of overcome any kind of situation that's thrown at us.
Yeah, football's a game that it's always going to throw you adverse situations, and your ability to overcome and fight through the adversity during a game is critical. And our guys showed that Saturday. We'll have to show it again, probably multiple times through the course of this season, and every experience they have like that helps you the next time.
And this week kind of throws a different kind of thing at you, because you go from a place where it's 70, 65,000, whatever, some thousand screaming people, to I think this is more of a kind of a smaller soccer stadium-ish place. And I think you may only, I think I've looked in the past, they've got, I think for some of their home openers, they've only gotten 1,000, 2,000 people. You may have to kind of create some of your own momentum in a place like this. How do you kind of, and I know Portland State certainly has struggled a bit over the last couple of seasons. How do you kind of, it's the old cliche, how do you create some of your own momentum perhaps in a place where it's not going to be as big a crowd? It's a non-conference game. Some would maybe even call this a trap game.
Yeah, I don't think it's a trap game in any sense of the imagination. I mean, you talked after the game. It's no more D2, no more FBS. It's all FCS games here the rest of the way out, and every one of these games has significant meaning for our football team and where we want to get to and where we want to end up. And particularly when you're playing a non-conference game against the Big Sky, which I think everybody across the board, in FCS football recognizes that right now the two best and deepest conferences in FCS football are the Missouri Valley and the Big Sky. And so these cross conference games and in the non-conference schedule are have tremendous meaning, and so the mentality of our football game is that, hey, this is a game where we got to continue to improve. We've got to be better than we were on Saturday, and we're going to have to go out there and win the game, because this team is a quality football team that is capable of playing at a high level.
Well, I got. Thank you, Coach.
And that's all I had on my list. So thank you everyone for attending this week's presser. We'll get it uploaded as soon as possible. And thank you.